Now is North Carolina Congressman Mark Harris. Congressman, the DHS funding bill still stalled. GOP leaders narrowly managing to clear a budget resolution for immigration spending, but many are threatening that they're going to oppose the rule when it hits the House floor today. What are you expecting and where do you stand?
Well, thank you, Cheryl, for having me this morning. Listen, this is still a very fluid situation, and we're seeing things continue to develop and will this morning. I do think it's important that folks understand that we have passed in the House resolution after resolution and bill after bill that would actually fund the entire Department of Homeland Security, and that's very important. What we do have in front of us right now is this budget framework that's going to allow us to be able to actually do this just as Republicans, using a reconciliation feature that we're going to move forward on, and hopefully that will be something that we're going to be able to do. The problem is, of course, that the Democrats have continued to oppose everything, which is why we find ourselves here. They have literally, in the bill that came over from the Senate, zeroes out ICE and zeroes out Border Patrol. And there are many of my colleagues that just cannot see a universe where we're going to vote for something that zeroes out ICE and zeroes out Border Patrol. Thus is why we now have this reconciliation framework, but that's going to take a little bit of time. So again, today will be interesting to see where it goes. I do think that if we can make sure that we are able to fund ICE and Border Patrol up front, we want to make sure all of the Department of Homeland Security. The Senate could have made this simple if they had just funded all of the Department of Homeland Security in this framework and then sent it over. Republicans are going to get this done.
Well, but, you know, of course, Senator Majority Leader Thune had said that he wanted, he had proposed more of like a skinny agreement. Of course, that was thrown out. And, of course, the House and Senator Mike Johnson opposing that. Chairman Mike Johnson. But at the same time, I want to go back to the ICE and the CBP funding part of this, because Democrats do not seem like they're going to budge on that particular issue. So what's the workaround here? How does this actually play out? And can it be done this week, more importantly, in the face of what we saw happen over the weekend and the threat against the president?
Well, reconciliation can be the workaround and can overcome the Democrats sitting it out. That's one reason that we're looking at a 3-year funding that will take care of ICE and CBP. But the problem is none of us like the idea of separating these two agencies out of the funding for the entire Department of Homeland Security. That is something that is very concerning to people. We've all seen the invasion that took place at our southern border in the last administration. Border Patrol is important. ICE is important. These are law enforcement, and we've got to make sure that they are funded. So the timing of how this is going to happen, no, this week we're simply voting on the framework of reconciliation that will allow Republicans to do this without any Democrat help, which they've offered none. And so that is going to be something that will happen. We still have one more paycheck, I understand, that we are going to be able to handle. So we've got to get this done within the next couple of weeks for sure to make sure that everybody is paid.
Okay, we're going to be watching, of course, what happens today on the floor. I want to talk about the Farm Bill. It's expected to reach the House floor this morning for a vote after the House Rules Committee advanced the bill yesterday evening. Several Republicans are expressing doubt about it. This leaves the fate of this bill uncertain. Make America Healthy Again supporters are opposing this as they push for pesticide provisions. Others are in favor of agricultural conservation, nutrition assistance that the bill would provide. I actually spoke with Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins about it yesterday. Watch.
The Biden administration was unable to get a farm bill passed. The Democrats on the Hill unable to do it. And listen, our farmers had not had new reference prices in more than a decade. The idea that our farmers, the breadbasket of not just America, but the world, this is a national security issue. If you cannot feed yourself, you cannot support your agriculture industry, then you do lose freedom. And that's truly what we're facing. It is a new day under Donald Trump. It's time to pass a farm bill. It's time to support our great Americans, those who feed and fuel and clothe us, and it's an existential issue at this point.
Congressman, you are a member of the House Agriculture Committee. I want to get your reaction to that.
Well, I think she's exactly right. And I do think that we are going to move the Farm Bill, hopefully, if we're able to move the rule today. I think that the Farm Bill will pass. I think it's important that we do this. Our farmers are hurting across this country in many ways. And I think it's important for us to give them certainty. People forget that, we talk about certainty in the markets, and we talk about certainty when we're dealing with tax cuts and whether tax cuts are going to go away or not. We got to remember these farmers are business folks, and they need certainty in their businesses as they're planning and operating. And so giving them the Farm Bill, passing it today, is going to be an important aspect. There's a number of issues, as you mentioned, that are going to be handled by amendment. The body's going to have an opportunity to vote on some of these, and that'll be important. But I think at the end of the day, we've got to look at the big picture. We've got to move the Farm Bill. It's just important. We were able to get some bipartisan support out of the committee. I think there were 7 Democrats that crossed over and voted in committee for it. So hopefully we're going to be able to see this bill pass.
Okay, so you support the bill, but there's still some concerns if there's going to be enough to pass it through.
There will definitely be some concerns, and people have got to see the big picture here, I believe.
Congressman Mark Harris, thank you so much for joining us. A lot of business on the Hill today that we're going to be watching. Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you. Thank you.